Breaker Broke 23. Today in this video, I'm going to show you guys the all-new Retevis MB3B 40-channel AM/FM CB radio. Okay, first thing I want to show you is that this radio comes factory with the cigarette lighter plug connected to the OEM power cord that is wired directly into the back of the radio. You'll see that in a minute. So for this particular demonstration, I'm just powering this radio up on my bench with a portable power station. Okay, so that being said, we have the radio turned on. I'm actually on an antenna right now. As you can see, I do have a noise level here. So I just want to go over a couple of these features. This is a pretty easy radio to navigate, and if you're not used to using menus and stuff like this, this radio doesn't take very long to get accustomed to. All right, so it comes with a really nice microphone. I'm really happy with this microphone, not only with the basic overall feel and quality of it, I'm very happy with the overall transmitted sound. This is very nice. We have our up-down buttons on this for control, and then a programmable feature here, and I'll show you how I'm going to utilize this center button. I like this feature. I'm really glad that Retevis did this. We have a 6-pin mic connector here, and I really like this. As you can see, I've actually got to unscrew the little ring to take that off. This is a standard 6-pin connector. You're seeing this on a lot of the newer radios, and I really like that. This is a very heavy-duty type connector, and will definitely not give out on you or give you any problems down the road as this radio ages. Okay, so anyway, we have our microphone here. We have our channel up-down buttons here. These are also buttons to help us navigate through the menu, which I'll show here in a minute. We have our function buttons here. This is basically a dual use button. You momentarily press it, it'll get you into the function mode to where we can easily access some of these quick access type settings, and then you press and hold and it'll go back into the menu. So we'll look into that in just a minute. We have a transmit and receive light. When it's green, we're in receive mode. When it's here, I mean, 9 isn't the thing anymore, but anyway, it just still doesn't feel right to me. Anyway, when we transmit, we have the red light, okay? In receive mode, this radio pulls about 285 milliamps, so not even quite half an amp. And in full transmit mode at 4 watts RF output on AM or FM, it pulls 1.6 amps. So in transmit, just a little over an amp and a half. So if you're worried about anything like that, you're running it on a power station or a battery, that can help figure out, or help you possibly figure out how long this is or your power supply is going to last. We have a 1.7-inch color TFT display. I really like that. We're actually going to see a lot of that. We're just starting to see this now. We have some indicators here. For instance, this is the key beep function, and we already heard that. Up here we have a DC voltmeter. This is on continuously, and it shows what voltage we're running at, and my Blue Eddy's running at 13.2, 13.3. We have an S meter here, SRF meter in this case, and I'll show you that in just a second. This is going to give us an idea relative signal strength coming in. When we are in transmit mode, we have a TX power level indicator here. And as you can see, when I'm talking, it's flashing, and I am an arm's length away from this microphone, and this sensitive microphone's still picking me up. And this shows that we are putting out relatively 4 watts. And something that really wasn't advertised, or not that I saw anyway, was the built-in SWR meter. This is kind of like, well, they used to call them automatic SWR meters back in the day, so you don't have to forward and recalibrate or anything like that. This just gives us an average SWR, and we're looking at about a 1-to-1. This antenna is about a 1-to-3, but I like this because if you're in this first scale here, this first block here, or even possibly the second block, we're still at a good SWR because a 2-to-1 doesn't show up till here. So I like that feature. Just a kind of a quick glance. So if you're new to this game and you are just installing this in your vehicle and your SWRs are this first or second block, your antenna is going to be okay. However, if it goes much higher than that and we're starting to get up here to the 2, you're going to need to adjust the antenna. Okay, we have our channel selector here, or our channel indicator, I should say. Okay, so I like that. We have a frequency counter that tells us the frequency of the channel we're on. Not really a big deal here when we're running this in the US. And as you can see, we are in this radio's microprocessor is in the US band plan, United States FCC approved. So this gives us 40 channels. Okay, over here we have our mode indicator, which is AM or FM. If we go into PA mode, that'll show that as well. And this does have weather channel monitoring capability as well as weather alert, and little signal strength meter on that as well. So that's pretty cool. I like that. All right, over here we have some multi-function buttons. This is our AM, FM, CB, PA, and weather channel button. We can see the PA down here, and that's a quick function when we momentarily press this. Over here we have scan and Roger beep. Down here we have this function here for NRC, that's noise reduction circuitry. And this is basically like a digital low-level DSP for transmit and receive. It helps filter out noise coming through your receiver. This can help mellow out your static level on your receive end and also take away background noise when you're transmitting if you set it up that way. Okay, we have an emergency button, and this allows us to toggle from channel 9 and 19. And those are also programmable, so if you do not want to do channel 9 and 19, you want to have some quick access channels, we can do that with this button. And then a keypad lock. You just push and hold, and it'll basically lock up these functions, which is kind of nice if you're off-roading or something, you couldn't accidentally hit something, but that will still allow you to adjust volume and squelch. Speaking of that, we have our squelch control over here, and down here in the corner you can see ASQ, that's automatic squelch, which is adjustable. So if you have this knob turned fully counterclockwise, it's in auto squelch mode. You get up here to about the 9 o'clock position, we have no squelch, the receiver's just wide open, and then of course, like a standard old school CB radio, the higher you turn the squelch, the more of a barrier you have. So I like that. And then this is a dual function button. Not only is it a rotary dial, this is a push feature here that will help us in some of these other menu options. Not used very much, but I do have a video showing how you use this to access the VHF receiver in here. So I'm not gonna try to give you too much here right off. Over here, last but not least, we have our on-off and volume control. So very nice. And these controls here have a very nice solid feel to them. This radio definitely has the feel of a more expensive radio, and at this price point this has got a good feel, great transmitted audio, and gives us a lot of flexibility. So I really like that. Very cool little rig. Let's take a look at the inside. Okay, looking inside the radio, not much to see. This is basically surface mount technology, and I call it radio on a chip. Basically, this is our PLL system here, our PLL microprocessing here, and this basically is the brains of the radio, as well as this pack over here. We have our power supply section here and audio section. We do have some big old school electrolytic capacitors here in places of high current and that need this type of robust capacitance. Back over here, we have our antenna control hookup, also our circuit here for our automatic SWR meter, our appropriate coils for tuning the output section of this radio, and then up in here we have a pre-driver and a final. This is a final output transistor. This is the little guy right here that gives us all of our RF output power. This is for radio filtering, and this is crystal control still. We still need a crystal to tell these things what to do, so I really like that. And then on the back here we have our heat sink, and that's a necessary thing, especially when you're in FM, because FM seems to generate a lot of heat. Okay, again, we have our heat sink back here, our SO239 antenna connector, and an external speaker jack. That actually is a dual purpose jack. This allows us to hook an external speaker up to this device, as well as utilizing that external speaker as a PA, public address system. And then of course we have our power cord in the back of the radio. This is probably about one of the few only things actually that I disagree with Retevis on. I really wish that they would actually put a plug on the back of this so we can have that feature. I'm just not really a fan of hardwired power plugs, and it wouldn't be that hard for them to do that, but apparently in manufacturing this is probably a more cost-effective way to do that. And as we saw a minute ago, on the other end of this wire harness here, we have that cigarette adapter. If you want to hardwire that into your vehicle, just cut off the adapter, and you can hardwire it into your vehicle. And then of course we have our fuse that comes with the radio. In the box we will get the radio, of course, a microphone, we get a nice solid mounting bracket painted black, and then of course the screws to connect to that, and screws to hook the radio up into the bracket, and some self-tappers to hook it up into your dashboard, or mount it to your dashboard, I should say. So pretty cool. Let's take a look at this on the RF output meter here and see what kind of power this radio gives us straight out of the box. Okay, so I have the radio hooked up to my meter that is hooked up to a dummy load, so we are not going to interfere with the outside world. So this is just going to be in-house basically. Okay, I have the radio set on AM, and by the way, the power readings on AM and FM are going to be the same. Okay, so there's going to be no difference at all, but basically I'm in RMS mode, so on the power meter, so we're just going to get a nice idea of what kind of power we're putting out. Okay, I'm on the 100-watt scale right now, and what we're going to do is we're going to read this lower scale here. Each one of these increments is 2 watts. We got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. The larger one in the middle here will be 10, and then 20 watts right there. Okay, so we're going to give it a flat key, and we are just at 4 watts, just a hair under 4 watts. So legal limits generally 13.8 watts from the FCC, and this radio is right on the mark. We do get a little slight bit of forward RMS swing, as you can see, as I speak into the microphone. I'm going to turn my meter on to PEP, peak envelope power, which will give us a rough idea of maximum talk power of this radio. Again, remember, this line right here is 10 watts. So I'm going to speak directly into the microphone in a normal voice. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hello, radio. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're getting about 8 to 10 watts peak. If you whistle into that, you'll probably get close to 12, but that's pretty darn good as far as RF power goes out of the box. And just to show you, I will switch over here to FM, and we're going to see that same power level. All right, very cool. Okay, let's go over a couple of these menu features and then we'll wrap up this video. Okay, before we get into the menu function, something I forgot to show you guys was the bottom firing speaker. We have our perforations here, and this is about a 3-inch in diameter speaker, high efficiency. When you see these small magnets, this is okay. This means this is an efficient speaker, meaning we're going to get a lot of sound for that for very little audio power that this radio actually has. Okay, so I'm hooked up to an external speaker at the moment because I haven't put this radio back together. So we're going to hear some beeps. And in fact, I think this would be a great way to show you the menu functions on this. So let's do this. So I have the microphone over here to the side, and then when you hear that click or you hear me hit the PTT, that's going to help me get out of some of these menus. Otherwise, you could let it time out. You can hang around in these menus for about 10 seconds. All right. So real quick, I'm going to show you just the function button. So originally I said that we had NRC, that's noise reduction circuitry here, and this will help us mellow out the static. Okay, so let's go into that. We're just going to momentarily hit that. Up in the corner, we're going to see function. We're going to hit that. And now we're in NRC mode. And that took away quite a bit of our static. I am hooked up to an antenna. Now I don't have the noise blanker or A&L on here, so this receiver's wide open. This would be the noisiest you're going to get it. And we just took care of some of that stuff with the NRC, and I'll turn it back off. So as you can hear, that did make a difference. And same thing with other functions like our Vox. Now the Vox is pretty interesting because this will allow us to transmit on the radio without pressing the PTT or the microphone. Generally we'd use that in maybe off-road conditions or something where you have to keep your hand on the wheel. Kind of a handy feature. Not used a lot, but it is handy. And then of course we have our PA function here. And what's happening here is if there was a PA speaker mounted, like say in your engine compartment or something like that, this receiver of this would be coming over your speaker inside, as well as whatever you say when you click up or key up the microphone. So I'm going to turn that function off. Okay, so as you can hear, we have those what I call key beeps. Basically, when you push any of these keys, it beeps, whether it's the microphone or this. Okay, let me turn that off. Okay, so we're gonna let's get rid of that. So I'm going to go back to our function menu control here. We're going to push and hold. All right, now we have our main menu, and we have 4 different areas of the menu. 1, 2, 3, 4 functions, parameters, channel parameters. This is communication parameters. Come on, see it? Did you see it? Timeout. And then our VHF parameters, and I'll show you that last. All right, so when we momentarily push this button, we're going to confirm what we want to do in each one of these settings. So let's run up here to functions, and I just randomly push that to keep this screen from blanking out. So we're going to confirm that we want to do that. This does have a dimmer, so we can dim that. Actually, what was I doing? Wasn't thinking. Okay, so let's play around in the dimmer for a second. We want to confirm that we're going to do that with pushing the function button, and we can turn it down. Now, unfortunately, we can't turn it off. For night driving, sometimes off is nice, but 1 will work out fine. For daylight usage, most of the time you're probably going to have that on, so let's confirm that. All right, we have our key beep volume, and it's 86 that. Let's just get rid of it. We're going to confirm. There we go. No more volume. Microphone gain. This is that button. This is the menu for the control on that center button on the microphone. Let me get back to it. Okay. We're going to confirm we want to play around in that. And basically, whenever we push that button on the center of the microphone, we can toggle into these things. We could use it as a weather alert, on, off, scan, skip, because this does scan channels, and you can program channels to be left out. We could use it as a dimmer. The high cut, which is really nice to have. I'll show you that in a minute. That's an audio high cut. Noise blanker A&L on and off. The Vox on and off, and the mic gain, Roger beep, etc., etc. Key beeps turning it on and off. This has CTCSS tone encoding in here, so you can create your own private channels if you'd like. Do not recommend doing that in CB band. All right, so I'm going to set this up for RF gain, because I want to be able to control my RF gain with my microphone. Right now my RF gain is up all the way. All right, let's go and see what else we have. We can reset our microprocessor. So if you're in here and you make any mistakes, you're getting flustered while you're learning, you can just reset the radio and start over. And of course we have our dimmer, and we'll just rotate through all that again. Okay, all right, let's back out of that. We'll just key the mic real quick. Let's go back into here. I'll turn that down, we don't need that. We're going to go into COM parameters. We're going to OK that. This is our auto squelch control. This will allow us to adjust the depth of this auto squelch. Factory preset is 4, and I'm happy with that. I like that setting. We have our Roger beeps that we can toggle through. We have, I believe it's 1 through 6. Different type of Roger beeps, yep. Okay. I generally don't do that. We have our mic gain. We can turn that up or down, and factory setting is 5. May I suggest going to 9? All knobs fully clockwise. If that was a knob, that would be fully clockwise, my friend. All right. We have the type of microphone, because you can add different mics. If you have maybe an old school microphone, you can click over here to the old dynamic microphones, but this is an electronic, so we're going to go with Electret. Vox sensitivity for our Vox feature over here. Vox delay, how long the radio will stay keyed after you speak and then let go of the transmit and go into receive mode. And then this is our NRC, noise reduction circuitry, and these settings are adjustable. They go from 1 to 5. I generally run my receive at 1. When you start going up into the 3 and 4 range, it kind of has an underwater sound, and all these radios do this, just not this one, but pretty much every radio on the market does that. And I find it honestly somewhat annoying. So I like it on 1. 1 works perfect for me. Same thing in transmit. You have the NRC in transmit. And basically, if say you're driving a big rig or a noisy off-road rig or some sort of a hot rod or something, and people are telling you that they can hear your motor or the background noise, you can turn this into like a trucker's mic. And the higher you take your setting here, the more background noise it will take out of your transmitted signal. Again, I find on most of these radios, 1 is the way to go. It's a more natural sound. Okay, this is the ANL, as you'll see on most old school CBs, the automatic noise limiter ANL, which is off, and I want that on. I want to take away some of my power line noise here, so I'm going to confirm that. Here's our noise blanker. Now this will take away engine noise, sometimes any noise that's generated inside your vehicle, and I like that on no matter what. Just a way of quietening down your receiver. And then this is our high cut. Think of this as kind of like a 2-position treble control on a stereo. Right now the treble would be all the way up, and then right now the treble, when we hit that high cut, would be at like 12 o'clock position. So it does take out some of the high frequencies. I'm deaf, so I want this high cut off. Come on. I want this off, and I want to oh, oops, I'm sorry. Let's back out of that. I want that off. There we go. I'm deaf, I need that. All right, RF gain, which we have set up to be used on the microphone, and this will cut our signal down. This will attenuate it. 3 dB basically will take a little bit of signal out, and then the higher we go takes more signal out. And then when you get all the way up here, I think it was 48, I want to say, basically you're only going to hear somebody like parked right next to you, okay? So generally, I like this with RF gain off or at -3 dB. So we're going to confirm that. These are just preferred settings. This does have an echo box inside here for echo in your transmit mode. We're going to skip over that. That's basically not used. And then our scan type, we can just do the old school squelch scan or time scan. This is our transmission timeout timer, which is set for 3 minutes. So if you key the microphone for longer than 3 minutes, it will let loose of the radio, and you'll have to re-key the microphone again. I kind of like that feature because if your microphone gets pinned maybe between the seat in your center console in your vehicle, it won't burn up your radio. Here's a neat little feature that's also part of that built-in SWR system. This is your SWR warning indicator. It's set at a 10-to-1. I don't like that. I set mine at 3. So if you have a bad SWR, maybe your antenna comes off while you're driving or something, it's going to warn you when your SWRs go high. So set it at about 3. We're going to confirm that. And then this is our RX audio path. This will allow receive audio to come through your microphone for aftermarket microphones. And this is our auto squelch. Again, back to here. So we've completed that. All right, let's hit the PTT real quick. We'll go to our next one. Channel parameters. We can add channels to our scan mode, add or delete. This is our receive CTCSS tone encoding. This is our emergency channel setup, and let's bite into this real quick just for fun. So it's currently set on channel 9. We have 9 and 19. Okay, I use 19 sometimes, but I like to home channel on channel 23. So I'm going to set this up for 23. And basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to run up here to channel 23, and I'm going to confirm that I want that channel. I'm also going to confirm that I want that channel in AM, because I can go back and forth between AM, FM. All right. Let's do this again, because I never confirmed any of that. We'll take the scenic route here. All right, I'm going to confirm that, and I'm going to confirm it. I want it on AM, and now our emergency 1 channel is set. We could do the same thing with number 2. We could put that to channel 9 or vice versa. I mean, you can do whatever you want. Okay, so that's pretty easy to deal with. I'll PTT it real quick, and let's go to our last function. Now I have a video on how to operate the VHF portion of this, and I'll leave a link to that below. That's kind of timey, and I don't want to really bite into that and get too crazy. We can turn our weather alert on and off. You guys in the southeast and in the east that have a lot of weather conditions, this is a really nice feature to have. I don't really need this here in the Rockies, quite frankly. I rarely ever use weather alert. And this will allow us to adjust our squelch and steps. And again, I'll leave a link below in the description box to use all of that kind of stuff. Okay, so that's it. I think I pretty much covered everything. Sorry about the length of this video, guys. I'll leave a link to this video down below. You can get this on Amazon. I'll leave a link down below to Retevis website and all of that. But yeah, leave questions or comments down below. Currently this radio is right around, I believe, $125 right now. And I think that's a lot of bang for your buck. And it's a nice looking little rig. All right, please leave questions or comments down below. If you've not yet subscribed to this channel, please consider doing so. Thank you very much. Cheers.